חודש טוב רבותיי. Let's continue talking about Shabbat. Another interesting thing is, that I'm not sure if you've ever seen this, but there are some shuls that they make Kiddush on Leil Shabbat after the prayers, You ever see this before? They make Kiddush. Over here we don't do, right? We don't do. You used to? Oh, okay, that's good, interesting. How long ago was that? A couple of years ago. Why'd you stop?
Nobody wants to do it.
Okay, I got you. So the truth is, that it's brought down in the Shulchan Aruch with Yosef, that this is an old custom, ancient custom to make Kiddush in the shul. What's the reason why they were making Kiddush? You're going to go and do it at home, so what do you need to do it in the shul? What do you need it for? That's the question, right? So the answer is that in the old days, people used to come to the shul, as guests. The shul was like a little bit of a hotel for guests, coming out of town. So people would stay there, and have the seudot over there in the shul. That's why they made the Kiddush, for them, for the guests. Today we don't have that, right? Nobody sleeps in the shul today. We don't have that. So that's why, the Shulchan Aruch says, nowadays probably better, not to do Kiddush anymore in the shul. Because nobody stays there anyway, so you don't really need it. That's what it says there. So it's good that you stopped. You have a good mazal. You know what I mean? You don't need it. That's the thing, right? Okay, so right, that's one thing. There's also another thing involved there, which is that it's also helpful for some people who are Amei Aratzot. There are people Amei Aratzot. They come to shul on Leil Shabbat, and they don't know how to do Kiddush at home. They don't know how to do. Not everybody knows how to do Kiddush. You know what I mean? I know people like this, by the way, today, in here, in our area. I know people, they don't know how to do Kiddush. So it's better, for them that they make Kiddush in the shul. Why? Because at least, the Rabbi makes for them the Kiddush, so they can hear the Kiddush. This is another reason why it's good to make Kiddush. For people who are Amei Aratzot, they don't know how to do Kiddush at home. But the thing is, that most people today, they know how to do Kiddush. There's also a question, as you said, right, which is regarding who's going to drink it, right? Who wants to drink it? As you said, right, nobody wants to drink it. Why? What happened? Why can't the guy who makes a Kiddush, why can't he drink it? What's the problem? COVID. Okay, COVID is something new, right? But we're talking, this is an old minhag, it's not something new. So what's the problem? Why don't people want to drink the Kiddush? So the answer is, that there's a rule like this in halakha. It says, "En kiddush ela b'makom seudah." You know what this means? You can only do kiddush in the place of the seudah, where you're going to eat there. So here nobody's eating, right? So then that's why, nobody wants to drink the kiddush because they're not doing the seudah here. So that's why it says in the Shulchan Aruch, if you're going to do kiddush in the shul, right, on Leil Shabbat, who's going to drink it? Bring a child, to drink it, a kid. Because he doesn't have obligation to keep all the mitzvot anyway, So for him, it's okay. You know what I mean? So you bring it to a child. The problem is, there's not always a child, to drink it. We don't always have a child. Let me give you a good tip, by the way. You want to give a good tip? Listen to me when I tell you. Listen to me. If you want to have children over here in the shul, more children, more young people, you know how you do it? Don't speak any more Bukhari in here. Don't speak Russian here. Speak only English. Because the little kids don't understand these languages. That's why they don't come. Because they don't understand. They think you're Star Modern, These people over here. Talking old language, from different country. Well, he doesn't feel connected to that. You understand? So if you want to bring young people, start speaking English over here. That's what I tell everybody, every shul, not only this shul. Everybody. Why are you still speaking Russian? What, you're Moscow? You what, Putin is here? You're with Putin? What do you need to speak Russian for? This is not Moscow. I'm sorry, This is New York. The Chazon Ish used to say, listen to this. It's a very important lesson for us. The Chazon Ish used to say, what happened was that in Eretz Israel, when the Ashkenazim came over there, to Eretz Israel, about 100 years ago, they started coming. So there was a question, they opened yeshivot. Ashkenazim, they're strong, Wherever they go, they open yeshivot. They're strong. Zdarovim, you know? Ashkenazim are strong. So what happened, right? They opened yeshivot Ashkenazim. But there was one question, you know? Vapros. They didn't know exactly what's the proper thing to do. The yeshivot, they should speak Yiddish? Yiddish, like they used to speak in Europe? Yiddish, or speak Hebrew? Because in Israel, they speak Hebrew, right? They don't speak Yiddish over there. The language of the country is Hebrew. So there was, you know, some people who said, you know what, we have to speak Yiddish, not Hebrew. Why? Because who speaks Hebrew? The Tzionim, right? You know, they're not religious, you know, these people, you know, they're not religious, Tzionim. Zionists, you know. So we don't want to be like them. We don't want to be like those Chilonim. You know? So we should speak Yiddish, you know, to be strong, to be zdarovi, chazak. Oh, yeah. Chazon Ish told them, he was a big chacham, right? For the Ashkenazim. He told them, no, every yeshiva is going to speak only Hebrew, Ivrit. No Yiddish. Sorry. No Yiddish. So they asked the rabbi, why, rabbi? But Yiddish, you know, it's for the religious people, you know, for the strong people, you know. Why? We should speak Yiddish. So you know what he told them? He says, if you speak Yiddish, the people here in Israel who don't speak Yiddish, they're not going to understand what you're talking about. They're not going to be connected with you. They're not going to come to listen to you. They don't want to listen to nothing you have to say. This is the problem, you know. When you speak the language of the old country, you know, and you have a new country here with a different language, nobody wants to listen to you. You got to wake up, you know, and start, you know, thinking about what you hear, not what it was over there. You got to wake up, you know, and start. In the Syrians, you know, I've been to Brooklyn, you know, several times. The Syrian shuls over there, you know, Sharet Zion, you know, the big shuls over there, in Flatbush, Ocean Parkway. Nobody speaks over there a different language. Only English they speak there, the Syrians. Only English, because they're smart. You see, that's the thing, you know. The Syrians are smart people. They know. If you don't speak English, the young people are not going to come. You know, they don't want to listen to your stupid language, your old language. You know, Star Modern. Nobody wants to listen to that. No, they're not interested. You know, so if you want to bring the young people, start thinking young. You know, don't think old like an old person. Think like a young person. You know? That's what it is. You know, don't be Star Modern. Okay, that's one thing. I'm sorry to divert to that. That wasn't my topic, but it's important to understand that. When I was speaking, you know, over here at the Georgian shul, I was speaking there for many years, you know. And they used to tell me, speak Georgian. I would tell them, no, I'm sorry. Slicha, I speak only English, that's it. No Georgian. I don't speak Georgian for you, I'm sorry. You know, this is America. What Georgian? You want Georgian? Go to Tbilisi. What do you want from me? You know, what do you think? What am I? You know, what's with you? You gotta start coming with the times. Okay. Anyway, getting back to what we said, right? So as we said, so what does the Shulchan Aruch say, bottom line, right, about Kiddush in the shul? If they were making Kiddush, you know, in the shul, like, you know, for always a long time, you know, this was old minhag, right? They can continue if they want to continue, even though there's nobody sleeping in the shul. But he says the better thing to do is to batal the minhag, you know, to cancel it, like we did over here. We got mazal, you know, we canceled it. Why? Because you don't really need it anymore, you know, so much. It's not really necessary, you know. And then you have a question, you know, who's going to drink it? The kid is here. Who's going to drink? Like you said, right? That's the thing. So the thing is, you know, but it says in the Mishnah Brura, right, that if there's no kid to drink it, then who should drink it? So you know what the answer is? The one who made the Kiddush. He should drink it. That's it. Very simple, you know. Don't be scared, you know. Don't say, oh, I can't drink it. Asur. Who told you it's asur? It's not asur. Why is it not asur? Because if you drink, right, 1 cup of wine, it's like you had seudah. It's called seudah, you know. So it's like a seudah. So if you drink like a full cup, you know, like Revi'i, 3 ounces, that's good enough. So if there's no kid, the rabbi who made the kiddush or the chazan or whatever, well, he can drink it too, you know, no problem. You know, that's the way to do it. But anyway, since we bottled it over here, leave it like it is. You know? Better, you know, leave it because we don't really need it anyway. That's not necessary. But on the other hand, right, what about Havdalah? The rabbi makes Havdalah, right, over here. Good? Yes, very good. You know why? I tell you, Maran, Rabbi Yosham, he always used to tell us, make Havdalah in the shul. You know? Don't say, oh, they're going to do it at home. It's okay. You don't need it. No, make it in the shul. Why? Because there are people, you know, who don't make it at home. So you're going to be zocher, mezakeh them. The thing is, you don't need for Havdalah, you don't need a seudah, like for Kiddush. So it's fine. That's the difference, you understand? You don't need a seudah. So for Havdalah, just make the Havdalah. So it's very good, we're making our Havdalah always, 100 years, do it like this, until Mashiach comes. Keep it like that, because the Sfardim, the Sephardi shuls, they all make Havdalah, the good Sephardi shuls. They're Masoret, tradition, they make Havdalah. One more thing I tell you, and we'll stop here. What about when the person, he goes up for the Chazan, right, Leil Shabbat, and he does, Man Sheva, right? It's like a repetition of the Amidah, like, Boris just did, right? But it's a short one, right? Man Sheva, short repetition of the Amidah. Right? Leil Shabbat, we do it every Leil Shabbat. Question is, like this. When you say, right, when you start the Man Sheva, Baruch Atah Hashem, right? Like this, right? Do you bow down when you say, right, Hashem, or not? Should you bow? Because when we do the Chazarat HaShatz, right? Do you bow? You do, right? Oh, so then what we should do also here. Same thing, right? Because it's also like the same thing. So you should bow, Baruch Atah Hashem, like you do in the Amidah. But there are some poskim, who say you should not bow. They say, no, don't do it. Stay straight, like a tree, like a log. Baruch Atah Hashem. Don't bow, don't move, don't budge. Something like that. What does Yosef do, Rabbi Yosef? He bows? You ever see him? What does he do? He bows. Oh, okay, he's like me. He's in my camp. I'll tell you why. Okay, very good. But there are some, many who don't bow. So the question is, right, why? Why is it machloket? Some do, some don't. So Maran Rabbi Danielov, he writes in the Chazon Ovadia that you shouldn't bow. That's what he says. And the reason is because it says in the Talmud, the reason why they made this, Man Sheva, is because of sakana, danger. What's the danger? That people, will be coming late to the shul, and then go home also by themselves, and the sakana, danger, because they're going, something, they may get attacked. Because in the old days, the shul was outside the town, it was in the field, it was in the forest, So it was dangerous for people to go home alone. And this is the reason why, right, that they made the takana, to do Man Sheva. So why this gives people time to pray, and then they all go home together. So the rabbi says, since they made it because of sakana, because of danger, it's not really, Chazarat HaShatz, you have to bow down. No, just a regular bracha. So you don't bow down. But then I saw, that it says not like that in a different place. Where? Shar Kavanot, the Arizal, right? The Arizal says that the Man Sheva is like Chazarat HaShatz, same thing. In other words, the reason why they made it Chazal is because it gives a tikkun to the prayer, to make it go higher, like Chazarat HaShatz.
Can you explain what Man Sheva is, what the second one?
Man Sheva is is we do the repetition, Leil Shabbat, right? We repeat the Amidah. Right. Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh HaShabbat. Right? We say, right? Like that. Mekadesh HaShabbat. The Chazan does.
At the end of the Amidah?
Yeah, after the Amidah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So says the Arizal that that's also Chazarat HaShatz, So if that's the case, according to that, you should bow, because it's the same thing. Who also says this? I saw in the Ben Ish Chai, he writes also like this, Says Ben Ish Chai, Parashat Vayera, it's Chazarat HaShatz. He brings the Shar Kavanot, the Kabbalah. According to Kabbalah, it's Chazarat HaShatz. So you should bow. Right? Different approach over here. So there's also another thing which supports this, which is that it says in Shulchan Aruch that if a person, right, came, as we mentioned this a couple of days ago, a person came late to the shul, right? And he didn't say the Amidah with the tzibur, Leil Shabbat. He didn't say the Amidah. So as we said, he can listen to the Chazan and be Yotzei Dechovah, right, with the Chazan. Just listen to him. Right? That's what it says in Shulchan Aruch. So if that's the case, right, you can listen to the Chazan, you'll be Yotzei with the Chazan, it's Chazarat HaShatz. It's the same thing, right? So here again, right, we see that there's two proofs over here that this Man Sheva is like Chazarat HaShatz. So therefore, I personally think, my humble opinion, the more proper thing to do is to bow, like Yosef does. It's a more proper way to do. Because according to these sources, right, it is Chazarat HaShatz. I mean, Shar Kavanot, and also the Ben Ish Chai. So therefore, right, and also Shulchan Aruch, as we said, right, also supports that. So therefore, I think the more proper thing to do is to bow. But the truth is, it's a machloket, There are some poskim who say, you should bow. Some poskim say, don't bow. So, right, elu divrei Elohim chaim, They're both correct. Just, don't do one time yes, one time no, right? Be consistent, Either go like this or go like that. One or the other. Baruch Adonai Leolam, amen ואמן. רבי חנן, שאומר, אצל הקדוש ברוך הוא לא עוסק בישראל, לפיכך הכי בא להם תורה ומצוות שלא בא חפש, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.